Our Creator made me see Him 8 times. To learn what I know will take your belief to a trust. My first video in the description lets males know they have a soul when they visit the abyss and have self-proof of an afterlife. What I also want to talk about is the first writers of the text can be revealed by showing you the hidden formats in Psalms, to show you that the people editing the text ever since the manuscripts have covered up the first writer's words. Why are they doing that? Simple answer is they're atheists. What you don't understand is the bewitching of the words, that the word, it can be used and it has 2 different meanings. But the object here is this. I'm going to reveal in Psalm 78 how I first found the hidden formats that actually gave me the copyrights to the New American, or to the Old Testament. I also own most of the first few chapters of the New Testament in what I call poetry format. Now that's using word for word in order, and I use the New American Standard 1977. All I did was put a new dot or a comma and separated them into new sentences that ended up looking like formats. That what I'm going to do is reveal to you the one I believe I started in 87, or I might have started 85 or 6 when this started. But the object here is by revealing these hidden formats, will show you that there are the first writer's words that these people have started with. That's very important. They started with somebody else's words. They started with words that were written down by witnesses of our Creator through people, and actually people witnessing our Creator's actions on the earth to make them His nation. Now, let me get right to the part here where, yes, this here. Now, I'm not going to be in this video because I want to show you screenshots. Now, these are very old. Like I said, these are time capsule, but I want to show you, if you put each verse in a sentence, and then you read the text, you would see that, let me see if I can blow that up a little bit. Okay. What you see here is verse 15 and 20. And you can see that they don't make sense. He split the rocks in the wilderness and gave abundant drink like ocean's depth. Behold, he struck the rock. We know that the rocks have these, this here, 20 has to go above 15, or 15 has to go below 20. That just makes sense. But to find out the words that need to be taken as a group and placed correctly, that's what's exciting. Here, you can see I could make those verses smaller and have them read easier. And as you read, like the first one, listen, my people, to my instructions. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. Can you hear this rhythm being written? Example, I can make this, listen to my people, and I can start another word, to my instructions. Incline your ears, a new verse, to the words of my mouth. Well, this was the first editing going through to find smaller verses, okay? Because when it starts showing up, then you can see that all these words right here, let me see, let me try to group them here for you. You can see that there's a group right there, okay? And then this is another group right here, okay? not this word here, not this group. But you can see that all of a sudden I can grab a group of the words here. But what I did was found those smaller verses, the ones I just told you about. I broke the text down again. The green text is what I found a word and then had to make it more truthful. Example, they were in the desert, they weren't in the wilderness. When it says like the ocean depths, I put in from. I now like the word like here and not from, but the object is it was very abundant. The waters that came out were not streams. It was one large river just gushing out and feeding all, or letting all the people that he took out of Egypt to be able to go over and drink water, and the animals that they had could walk over to the edge and drink water, fresh water. So you can see some of the correcting going on here. Now, the next group here, this is what I said, how they became a smaller verses, became beautiful little groups, whoops, became smaller. Look at this. Notice how that's almost a small paragraph. Listen, my people, to my instructions. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. It's rhythmic. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter sayings from old, which we have heard and known, for our forefathers have told us. Beautiful, beautiful. And yet when you read the Bible, you got to double take everything. Well, that's because they're covering up the text here. But the object is when this text here all of a sudden was out of place, so I have question marks here. So what we'll do is we'll just go on to the next picture here, and this was the finishing up of all the small little verses, and you can see here how they don't start at the beginning of every verse. You know, I mean, when you look at, or the numbered verse over here, you can see that too here. Okay, but the object is the next one here. On the right hand, or on the left hand side, is the text. On the right hand side is the same text, but I'm taking this 15 out and placing it down here where it belongs. Now you can see I also copied over the text here. Let's change this to red because we got blue. Here is also down here, okay? But it's removing it. Why did I remove it? Because it doesn't have a second part. It doesn't need to be there. The text is there, but it doesn't need to be there. When you read this, I'm going to show you the ending product here in a little bit, but the object is that now I've located the verses that I needed to move and move them. Okay, this is the finished product. Okay, at that time I've done better since then, but if you just sit there and read this, you'll read the rhythmic way they wrote, okay? And it's very interesting to see the hidden format, the first writers, the way they wrote, and I believe they wrote all the text that way of their writings. And what I know is that when you look at the manuscripts and you try to reason out why there are certain words that don't make any sense in the Hebrew text. Example, when Moses looks at the promised land, our Creator has him stand on a mount that is in Jerusalem or in Jordan and looks down upon the hilly country of Israel. And yet the manuscripts have over 300 times the word that there's mountains in Israel. Therefore, we don't have the first writer's writings. They're hidden. They're using the first writer's writings, but they're re-editing the text for their own belief. And they really are atheists that are writing, because why would you take our Creator's name out of the text? Let me show you that. Here. They are removing 6,825 times our Creator's name. Let's get to, let's do green here. Out of the text. Why would you be so dishonest and not leave his name in the text? And here you can see that they actually made two words, or two titles, Lord and God. And they used them that many times because down here in this program, it tells you how many times they used each of these English titles, okay? So now people think that the word God is like his name, but it's not. And here's what's very interesting. This is Genesis 2:4, and it goes through here. And let me see if that's which way I got to go. Which way I got to go. Okay, I got to go backwards. Here is Genesis 1, where they're using the word Elohim as the word God. Okay, and down here you can see they're also using it for the word goddess, judges, shrine, rulers, mighty. So this is a deception upon you when they want to use the word or title God for Elohim, they put it in. But what's unique is when you study the text and you're looking for a definition of a word, you go through the Hebrew text and you grab all those verses that have that word, and then, or the Hebrew word, you know, all the Elohims, and you put them together. And what happens is you can see in verse 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these here are over here. Then God said, God saw, God called, God said, God made. Well, the problem is we already have his title God here, okay? So why did they do that? Well, the object is that they're covering up the true meaning of the word Elohim, okay? Now this is unique because if you put our Creator's name back in here where all the letters, capital letter, different color, Lord, 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 Lord. And then you think of the word that, what is the correct word here? Is it really God? Is it God? Or can we actually say the word Creator? And I'm going to say, I say his name as YV, and that's by me using just this letter and this letter. People that teach Hebrew online will tell you a lot of times the letter H is silent. There is no O in the Hebrew language, and there is no W. So the best way I do it to say that I get rid of all those names that the secular world is trying to tell me what his name is, I just say YV. So you'll hear me say that over and over. So YV, our Creator, had not, I'm over here, I'm sorry, had not sent rain yet. YV, our Creator, formed man out of the dust. Well, he created. YV, our Creator, that's created. YV, our Creator, planted the garden. YV, our Creator, caused every tree to grow. You can see it's tied to the title Creator here many times, especially the first one. YV, our Creator, made earth and heaven. Well, I'm just saying that there's a lot of corruption going on, and just the titles alone show you that they've done a lot of corruption. I have one more thing that's going to surprise you. Let me see, use for streaming, and Editor's mistakes. Okay, I want you to take a good look at this. This is a manuscript, an Egyptian manuscript. And what I want you to do is look down here. It is how old? 4,000 years old, and it's almost in perfect condition. If they wanted the originals around, we would have had the originals around. It makes no sense that people tell me that, oh, they were deteriorated. They just couldn't stay around that long. They're liars. This is proof. This one's 4,000 years old, and look at the coloring of the text. Well preserved. I mean, especially if those first writers were witnessing, you know, they would have protected the text as perfect as they could. But what has happened is that those that do not believe in our Creator are re-editing the text. They burned all these, so there is no true evidence. That's what you have to understand. This is what you have to learn. There's a video below in the list of the 1611 preface. You read that and you tell me that those guys are the good guys editing the Bible? No. They call a clerk in the Roman Catholic Vatican a divine person. They give him the title the divine. Gregory is the divine. Okay, they're happy that nature taught man a natural way of living. They were happy that first emperor of Rome changed our Creator's calendar to the way the sun rises in the solstice, or the winter solstice. And they even capitalized the letter sun there, which would represent the Egyptian god Ra. So you have to, you're getting a wake-up call, because I'm telling you the true truths, and I'm going to be pointing these out. But this is just the example of how, let me see, of what I'm saying about whether, how true the text is and how much truth we can reveal, you know, from the, by making the words truthful. Example, my last video was just on the word tomb or tombs, and out of the words being used, tomb or tombs, 46 times, and one of them was an added word that the New American Standard put in. But the object is they're using it wrong 37 times. Now that's just deceiving you to not let you know what the word tomb to tombs is. And when I'm showing you that the manuscripts should still be around, and I'm showing you the proof, self-proof of the 1611 preface, is their words, happy to change our Creator's calendar. He started the calendar on the summer solstice as the first day of the Hebrew calendar at that time. And by revealing that hidden format, and I'm going to show you a lot of them coming up, but like I said, I'm going to go two paths, and that way I'm hoping I'll be able to afford this other computer to show you really in depth of how I'm going to correct the verses in the 4 books that are named Gospels. But the thing here is I'm going to correct the text there to show you the true truths, and I'm going to explain a lot of things that when you read it, you wouldn't think of those things. Example, one real quick example before I wrap this up. In the Gospels, it says that the house was made of stones. The house for meeting with our Creator is made out of stones. Now, our Creator labeled or named the tent for meeting with Him because He was meeting with them to forgive people their sin. So the house for meeting with Him is the title. not a temple. A temple is where a pagan idol is set in there and people come in to worship. That is not when you read the word temple, that is just not correct. It is the house for meeting with him. Replace the word temple, and we can truly edit it, those words in, house for meeting with him, because that's what our Creator defined his house or his tent as. But they say that their stones are making the house. Well, here's what I know. The text says David had 80,000 hewers. They weren't around picking up stones. And then we have the words, Solomon said we made him a forever house. They made a granite house of blocks. Okay? Now, the blocks, these granite blocks, what color are they? Well, if you go and look up granite quarries in Israel, by Hebron was white granite, and by Jerusalem it is red granite. So what color is it? Well, let me take you back to when Moses was told to build the tent for meeting with our Creator. Made it out of goat hides and ram hides. They are white. So now you know that the house was made out of white granite at that time. And when you read the story of the complaining about the workers in Shechem about how heavy their workload is, well, what was the floor of the courtyard made of? What was the fence now made out of? It's to be a forever house forever, as Solomon said. Well, by Shechem we find a lime quarry, okay, a limestone quarry. So now we know why their work was heavy. They were working with limestone all the time. They were the ones making all the laying out of the courtyard, the fence that goes around Jerusalem, and all the fortification for a wall around Jerusalem was being made out of limestone. Everything white, okay? So that's the kind of knowledge that I'm going to go through and explain, that I'm just not going to say that this is the truth. I'm going to show you why I can change the words to be more truthful. I hope you stick around and enjoy these videos to learn what I know, so you will have a